Hello? Well, I can explain. I just have to notify everyone that there's a new link. I blame Leon. Okay, so that's the new link. Now we need to post it here. Ah. Gosh. I don't know why I did that. Okay, I can't even. What? Select stream. Uh-huh. Refresh. This one. Okay. I think we're okay, and I just gotta wait for people to come back in. What a nightmare. Okay, I think people might be in this new one now. Okay, they're just gonna give it a minute. I don't know. The system is exploding. And I'm gonna wait until somebody chats before I start talking. Okay, Riro's here. Okay, hello. We're waiting. Waiting. I blame Leon. So Leon said, "Hey, he doesn't like the delay because it's like a 30-second delay between." So in OBS, you can select normal, low, or ultra low latency, and that is like the delay between. Well, it's not a purposeful delay. Why do I hear like an echo? I don't know. It's just a little bit of a delay for, I guess it's probably YouTube encoding it. So like the lower the latency, it doesn't encode it as high as if you use normal latency, but there's a delay. Or yeah, with normal there's a delay. So you get higher quality video in the VOD, but you get a 30-second delay. And so I said, okay, all right, I thought in OBS I could select 4K ultra low latency, which I already knew I couldn't do, but for some reason it allows you to do that. It allows you to select 4K output and ultra low latency. But when I went to go live, so I thought I had figured it out, but YouTube doesn't allow you to upload it in 4K with. So when I went live, it said error. It's like. So I had, and then I was like, okay, well, I'll just change the resolution to 1080p. So I ended the stream, but then all of my scenes are all at 4K now, and I'd have to readjust every scene, and I'm not doing that tonight. You can change it. You can't change it during the stream, so I had to close it out. But basically, I should just have left it the way I left it this morning. So for streams like this, where I want feedback, how the hell am I supposed to know this? This is a stream, I'm going to need feedback. I should put it on low latency 1080p, but I need to set up a second OBS profile. Okay, I know you guys don't care about streaming stuff. So I think people are trickling in. I hope people are trickling in. I know this is a nightmare. I've already canceled 3 stupid invites, but I blame Leon because he said there's a delay. So I don't know how long the delay is, but I know there's one. And I think the only reason Leon cares is because he knows where all the screws go in this mod. So I'm like, okay, that would have been nice. That would be nice, but yeah. Okay, so lots of stuff tonight. Yeah, sorry. Sorry, guys in Discord. Hello. Do you own multiple Wiis? Yes, I own. At this point, I own 3. I've got, well, yeah, so I've got the Ashita portable in here, tucked away back there. So that's a Wii. I've got my childhood Wii, which is gutted on the bench here. And then I ended up buying another, this is a CPU-40. So it's another 4-layer Wii there. So I've got 3. Okay, hello, hi Obi-Wan. Good luck. Okay, good luck. Be sure to have a good blob of solder in the vias for the flex to suck through. I and some others have had to go back, reflowing a few times. Okay, yeah. So I'm thankful that I did the Ashita because I kind of have a little bit of an understanding of the problems that you could have with this, other than the screws. So I already have disassembled this Wii, and this Wii has been disassembled for like a year. So that's the reason I'm terrified. Not necessarily doing this mod, but I'm terrified because I don't really know how it goes back together. Reason you ask, will you be doing a comparison between the HDMI mod versus the Retrotech 4K? Yeah, I could. So keep in mind, I don't think my streams are ever going to be a good quality indicator of the output. Maybe color-wise they might be, but I'm only ever going to be able to stream in 420. So there's going to be color. I think that's just a limitation of YouTube. I'm not going to be able. You can't stream in 444, 4K, yada yada. I don't even think you can do it 444 and 1080. So it's never a good decision to like base your buying habits off of. Well, yeah. I don't even think it's a good idea to base your buying habits off of a YouTube video in general. So even if somebody had an edited YouTube video, I don't think you would get the best quality output. You'd have to see the raw files, raw comparison. I mean, maybe you could see some side by side, but we're not going to be able to get. I don't think we're going to get that far. And it's not just because I'm talking a lot, but well, maybe yeah, maybe I'll stop and finally. I know a lot of people have been waiting for this, and I'm sorry. Disassembling and reassembling Wii's is a pain. Yeah, I've done it twice already, and no thanks. And I'm kind of, that's like, it gives me anxiety. Over on the thing, I've got a bucket of screws there, but that's not all the screws because I used some of those screws for my Ashita. And I don't know which screws, and I don't know how many. So luckily not somebody, shoot, really? Is it not going to be able to let me know their whole name? I dislike how, okay, disable. Got it. Crazy Gadget. Crazy Gadget from BitBuilt Forum is sending me a set of Wii screws. Oh my gosh, why is this thing not working? What is happening? Well, I might as well shut that off because if there's no comments in the video, then I got to check all my scenes and disable that in every scene. Okay, well, sorry for not having chat on the screen. This is a real tragic stream. Oh, hey, Leon, you finally made it. Leon. So this morning, I thought that I could do... so OBS, when you set up a stream, it lets you pick normal latency, low latency, or ultra low latency, and that's how you choose whether or not you're going to have... It has to do, I think, with the YouTube encoding. So it's not like, because in OBS you can add a delay. So let's say you're a professional, I don't know, Apex Legends player or something. You can add a 30-second or 2-minute delay or something. So if somebody's ghosting you, there's a delay between what you now and where you actually are in the future. But the delay in this case is from the encoding, I think. So if you have it on normal latency, you actually get better quality VOD, a better quality video, because it takes longer to encode it. That's where the delay comes from. Although, but ultra low latency is only available for 1080p. So I canceled my first thing, and then I did the second one, but I left that in 4K because I thought it would let me do ultra low 4K, but it threw an error when I tried to go live. So I tried to scramble to switch it all to 1080p, but all of my scenes in OBS are all in 4K, and I would have had to go through everything. And so we're just 4K and there's latency. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, HDMI mod is only 480p, so feeding into the 4K is a good idea. Yeah, probably. I mean, in general, it's always going to be a good idea to feed it into the 4K. Even if you had a great quality like 720p output or something, well, especially for like 4:3, it's probably, if you have an OLED, like I have an OLED, I believe this model is the one that has latency if you are in 4:3 aspect ratio. Which adds latency or something, I think, according to, I think it's Try from Okay, so I'm going to stop talking. We're going to start with the mod because it's going to take a while. And anyway, so I'm channeling the Wii gods And we professionals in the chat, if you are experienced, I'll need help later on with reassembling of it. Now, okay, so what the hell? It took me like 15 minutes to get to what is this. This is an internal HDMI mod called AVE-HDMI for the Wii. This mod is based off of GC Video, so it should have similar video output to any other GC Video mod. It is not going to be better quality than any other GC Video mod, I believe. So like even the external GC Video mod, let me see, actually. Wii to HDMI. Well, that's not true. Wait, is it true? Yeah, so this is not a digital to digital mod. Sorry, I was looking up the thing. This is a conversion. So the Wii can output VGA, 480p VGA output. So I believe this is sucking that in and converting it to digital that way. So it's not a digital mod. It should be, in theory, the same video quality as any other GC Video mod. So if you have a GameCube, it'll look the same as that. If you have the external version of this AVE HDMI, it should look the same as that. This is not going to be better than that. Just FYI. There's no external GC. Isn't the external AVE the Wii to HDMI? Isn't this? Doesn't this use GC Video? Oh, maybe this is some custom VGA to HDMI conversion thing. Okay, got it. Okay, so it will be better. It should be better than the external Wii to HDMI. But if you have a Wii Dual, would be the same. It's GC. They're both GC Video. So just FYI. Okay, let me get back to the comments before I go back to the bench. Oh, I thought this was for Super Chat or something. I was interested in doing a Wii case swap after looking up the how-to video. I was like, yeah, that's a good call, level 1 online. I would not disassemble a Wii just to put it in a new shell. Okay, Leon, is this dependent of your PC's ability to encode? No, yeah, there's no feed. This is on the YouTube's end, Leon. Would an M3 Pro that can encode H.265 almost in real time? No, I don't think YouTube has the functionality yet. So Twitch just recently announced that they are trying to integrate where you could encode if you have a, I don't know if it's all RTX graphics cards. It might be all RTX graphics cards, where you can encode in your graphics card and then send the encoded video to Twitch and in multiple resolutions. So I think that's coming soon, but only to Twitch. So YouTube hasn't. I don't think YouTube has announced any thing like that, but they probably should. They probably should. And in the other, like H.265 or AV1. So, anyways, I don't know if that's going to happen, but okay. I don't have that old of a PC. I have a Ryzen 5900X, so it's just not new, but it was it's at least it's a $500 CPU. So. My Samsung TV freaks out when I'm using 480p in game mode. Okay, well, we can test at least my OLED raw and then through the 4K. So the external one is just component to HDMI. Got it. Yeah, I noticed that it doesn't enable mode. So there's a pin. Actually, I don't know how you're supposed to do it. Was there VGA cables or something for the Wii? In this process, actually, I was watching. So part of this is I was looking for written instructions, and there really aren't any. There really aren't any written instructions. Like, there's not a guide. There's some pictures, right? So here's kind of an overview, but you kind of don't really know where these cables go to. Some of these cables go to, and I suppose if you're already a Wii genius, you already know where some of these things can be found. Like, one of them is for the controller input. There's a test pad. Although, if you're into trimmed Wiis and not just normal Wiis, the vias are in different locations. So that's like a side note. But there's a voltage thing that goes out here, and then there's this other one that you can't really see. You guys probably won't even really see it in this picture. And then this one goes over to the mode, or the 3.3 volt thing over here, the mode selector thing. But this is it. There isn't any other documentation. Oh, there is a little bit more. So this just tells you so there's two, I guess there's two categories of Wiis, right? There's what they call 6-layer boards, which are the older revisions. So CPU-1 through, it looks like CPU-30, according to this picture. Those are 6-layer boards. And then the later model ones, CPU-40 and higher, are 4-layer boards. So that's the segmentation. If you've got the older ones, you use the pads on the left. You can see there's these pads here. And if you've got a newer CPU Wii, you use these ones on the right. Then this IR board, you use. I don't have one in my bag. I think either I ordered this before they were included with all the kits, or I don't remember. But I think this is only necessary if you have a GameCube that does not have GameCube ports. So I think this is how you configure the OSD or whatever, how you use the OSD. Use this an IR. You must have to use an IR remote or something to configure it. But I don't think you need this if you've got controller inputs, because it pulls the controller. And here's some pictures, kind of where the vias are on the board. This is for the 6-layer boards, kind of a illustration of how they go. But I'm not trying to dunk on this page. This is just straight from the Electron Shepherd page. It looks kind of like these pins are not in. Get out of here, Stream Elements thing. It looks kind of like these. It looks like these pins over here. It's like if you're installing the pads over here, you need to wrap these sets of pads with Kapton tape or some kind of tape to isolate them so that they don't bridge anything. Because there's tons of stuff on the board here. So, and then the vice versa for the 4-layer boards, the newer boards. So there are different sets of pins that you go to. And then that's it. And then it dumps you to the Voltar video and then Spawnway video, which I don't know. Like, that's just kind of an overview. It's not as detailed as Voltar's. So Voltar's video essentially is the installation guide. So I watched some of it. I didn't watch. I kind of skipped around a lot because this Wii is already taken apart, so I don't have to worry about. Well, I'm worried about putting it back together again, but for this video, for the sake of this stream, I don't have to worry about that. So we can get right into the soldering. I regret that I have the camera now for my microscope, but I don't. Amscope. So this is a trinocular microscope, meaning there's binocular, the part you look into on this side, but then there's a third camera port on the end. They have this garbage. I guess I don't know if it's garbage, but it's not good for the purposes of using a camera like this. This goes into the part. It goes into the camera port. And then you're supposed to be able to put a camera on top of this, but the threads are on the opposite side. The threads are backwards. So you would, well, I also realized that this camera is supposed to have a lens also, and the lens, I guess in theory, is supposed to attach to this and something. So I didn't buy a piece that I needed to buy, so I bought that piece that I needed to buy, and that should be coming sometime. I don't know. So I won't be able to use a scope. I'll be able to use my scope, but you guys won't be able to see what I'm looking at. So I'm sorry, but I have the camera. It's if you're curious, it's called, if you just search DX 4K Mini, DX 4K Mini. If you want a microscope camera. Sorry, that was probably blurry, but that's what I'm going to be using. It's only 1080p 60. Well, it does 4K. I think it does 4K 30, but I'm not going to be using that probably. Well, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so I have one if I need one, but for your purposes, this is all you guys are going to see. I can zoom in a little bit, but yeah. All right, just looking at the rest of the things. Pin 67 bridge, yeah, I think that's the mode thing. That will enable 480p. There is no VGA cable, yeah. It does output VGA, so that's how it can output VGA. That doesn't mean it will with the cable, yeah. Well, there are, but they're component converters. That it was an undocumented thing Aurelio found when poking around on the dev kit, if I recall correctly. Ah, that's why it needs a software patch. Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's all. If you're doing the portable, you can use the VGA monitor. All right, let me stumble over here. Oh, gosh, I have to, for a third time, I have to refresh my stream comments. I have to pick out, go to this other video. I'm not really feeling really great, so sorry if I have low energy. Okay. All right. So this Wii, if you guys aren't familiar, I have a series of videos on building an Ashita, which is a portable Wii. So go check that out. I didn't put a link in the description, but you can find it on my channel. So this is a portable Wii in the form factor of a Wavebird. So anyways, you can kind of, well, actually you kind of can't. Well, there's a green board in the middle of this that is an actual cut down Wii. It's called trimming. So I had to trim the Wii. And well, I had to soft mod it first, then trim it. Oh, please tell me that this is not going to die. Okay, wait a minute. Oh gosh. This is going to be a repeat of last stream, isn't it? I'm sorry. Forgot to plug my camera in. I'm trying, guys. I'm sorry. I hope my camera doesn't die. Anyway, so I didn't want to buy a whole Wii for the Ashita because I was basically going to gut it and put it into the Ashita, so I didn't need the case. So for the Ashita, I ended up just buying a CPU-40 Wii motherboard, but then I needed to soft mod it before I did the Ashita. So I had to take the I had my childhood console. NES professor said, you know, who's got a childhood Wii? I was in high school when I bought this Wii. But I used the guts, the disk drive, and the other components from this childhood Wii to soft mod the other Wii. So that's why this Wii has been apart. And this Wii, I've left this Wii in parts since the Ashita series because I knew I was going to eventually put the HDMI mod in it. So I think I've got all the parts, right? So you can see this is the wireless antenna, either for the Wi-Fi or maybe the Bluetooth or both, or maybe that's this. This might be the Bluetooth thing. So I have all the parts, which makes it really convenient to further take it apart to do the mod. So this, if you've ever taken it apart and gotten to this part, this is like the disk drive is already off, the fan shroud and everything is already off. Yeah, so really all we have to do to take it apart or to get to the part where we need to do the mod is take the CPU and the heatsink off. So it's pretty easy. Now, I do not know. I think I might have some replacement thermal pads. This is the one on the Wi-Fi thing that I hope that's fine. It's kind of gunky, but I think I might have extra ones. Plus, I bought a variety pack for the GameCube, so maybe something in there will be better. But yeah. So it's, oh gosh. Wait a minute, I need a thin screwdriver. So unfortunately, will it work? No, it won't. The iFixit screwdriver won't fit into the fins of the heatsink to unscrew it. I mean, it might work sideways here. Or I could just use this other little tiny screwdriver I have. Yeah, so I guess I highly recommend watching Voltar's video because he does go step by step into disassembly. Although, you know, I don't know if there is something that exists that is like an inventory of all the parts you'll have at the end. I think that would probably be the most helpful for people. I think you can just pull it up now. I'm not going to rock it or anything. I'm just going to pull straight up. Then I lost. Okay, we're good. Cool. So these pads don't look damaged. I think these probably barely make. Ew, they're like greasy. These barely made contact, I think, with this heatsink. So I don't know. But we're not going to worry about the screws right now because that's the least of our problems. Well, that is all the problems is the screws. So, by the way, while you're here, if you could note the video encoder revision, that would be awesome. Video encoder. So that would be this. Do I have to look? Is there a certain spot that I need to look? Is that under here? Is this the video encoder? Or is this the video encoder? Or are neither of these video encoder? Help. can you use thermal paste instead? Probably not, because they're thick. They're at least a millimeter, maybe 1.5 millimeters, maybe 2 millimeters. So I would not use thermal paste, because that would be a lot of thermal paste. I'm like talking about a lot of videos without having links to them, but if you look at my, I did the Pico, what is it called? Pico boot? Pico loader? In that video where I add Pico boot or Pico loader to the GameCube, I talk about a variety pack of these replacement pads that probably will have the right, it might have the right the thickness. Lag, Leon, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. It's on the other side of the board. Okay. Well, actually, you know what? Then maybe let's take these off then, because I don't want these to fall. So let's put them on the heatsink. Oh gosh. Okay. Oh, that's fun. Okay. So that's that. Oh, I'm getting flashbacks because this is actually, it's not this model. It was the newer revision, but this is like where the point where you get to cut the Wii, trim the Wii. So, okay, so that's that. So let's flip this over. Let's find the video encoder version, whatever that is. Is that this thing here? Probably, right? AVE-RVL. Is that helpful? And also this is a CPU-01 also, just if that's helpful for documentation. I have a Google form in my most recent post tweet if you want to fill it out, or I could just do it myself. Just remind me and I can. I highly doubt that I'm going to be reassembling this tonight. Plus I can always look at the VOD. So yeah, hopefully that. Right by what it'll be soldering. Oh, okay, so maybe it's not. I didn't actually look where I was going to be soldering. I know that because this looks different. This bottom part of the board looks different than the newer 4-layer board. So I'm not super familiar with this version and where to look for things, because I think it was over here. Like the stuff for the 4-layer boards are like down here, I think, where you have to solder to. Something like that. Okay, that's it. Okay. Yeah, up to you, MP3. Let me know. Just either if you end up doing it, let me know. And if not, then just let me know to remind me to do it, and I'll do it. Okay, so now I got to find where these vias are. So this is like probably the hard part, is finding where the vias are. So what am I talking about? So let me just bring up the the instructions here. Just for this part, I am going to probably need to refer to Voltar's video a few times because he talks about where the wires go to, some of the wires, so I might take a break. I highly doubt that I'm going to get this finished tonight, but we'll see. Okay, so I'm looking at the installation instructions. So this is a newer Wii, or an older Wii. So I'm going to get some Captain tape, and I'm going to tape up the vias that I won't be soldering to. Do I have my little scissors? Little scissors. Where are you, little scissors? Oh, are they? Huh? Come on, little scissors. You're my favorite. Whatever, screw it. Where's my X-Acto knife? God, this is gonna be one of those streams. One of those streams. Really? Where's my... Actually, I'm gonna need that right now, so I need to find that. Oh, here's this. Okay, I got that. Can I find my scissors? No. Scissors. They're gone forever. Okay, well, I won't need the scissors, but I need my X-Acto knife. Okay. Oh, this is the wrong Captain tape. So I need slightly thinner Captain tape. Okay, this should be fine. Okay, so I believe this part is the only part that will differ between the versions. And they're kind of similar, or they are similar. You just got to do the opposite thing. So I need to use the pads here on the right side, so I need to tape off the pads here on the left side here. And I know this is kind of hard. It might be hard for you to watch, you people watching on the stream. Till I get my microscope, then it'll be sweet. But oh, God. I'm super excited about that because I love looking at the microscope now. Like, it's very useful. And I'm sorry to all the people that have been telling me, probably for a long time actually. I think I've been told that a lot that I need to get a scope. And yes, you were right. I should have gotten a scope sooner. Okay, so you just basically cover those, cover up those vias for good. Voltar explains in the video that if you have a newer Wii, like let's say you only need to use the pads that I'm covering now, I guess in the beginning it was, part of the instructions were to cut, there's like a line here. Part of the instructions, if you were doing it on a newer Wii and you only needed these, that you could cut this part off, but I wouldn't do that. I would just cover it up with Captain Tape. And Voltar explains that in the video because he says that maybe you could cut too close to these vias here and ruin the traces, so I would not do that. Will you be using the microscope? I can't use the I can use the microscope, but you guys won't be able to see it. So I suppose what I could do is, well, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. So I'm waiting still for a camera attachment. So I have the camera, Leon. I just here's a better shot of it. So just Google this DX4K Mini, and that's this. So when I get the lens attachment, I think we'll be good to stream that. So I'm excited for that. All right, so I'm looking for, I don't see that little knob thing. I gotta find out where the heck it is on here. Okay, so it's near a screw via. Okay, I think in the instructions there is a different colored encoder, I believe, and MP3 probably can tell me this. So I believe the vias I'm looking for are in this general area here, like right around there. So I'm going to try to hold the board in this orientation. Let me zoom out, I guess, if you care. So the ports are over here. The coin cell is over here. This is like, and this lines up with the picture on the website. And I don't know if it lines up with Voltar's video, but Voltar does this on a newer Wii. So if you're doing it on a newer Wii, maybe watch his video. You get the actual pinouts more. But I'm going to do... All right, so if you watch Voltar's video, and I'm probably going to say that 1,000 times, but I'm sorry, but that's the instructions are basically in Voltar's video. So these vias are small. You probably don't need my word for that. You can see them. That's why people tell you you're probably better off with a microscope. So if you have a microscope, that probably will help you a lot. I don't necessarily know. Well, on this particular one, it definitely looks like the vias are not, they're like almost completely covered with the silk screen or whatever it is, the conformal coating or whatever you want to call it, which makes it's going to be incredibly difficult to solder to these vias unless you scratch the solder mask off. I'm not even going to, like, what Voltar showed in his video is basically, just getting my soldering iron ready. Basically, if you take some solder, he pretins it, not tries to pretend, he's tinning the vias, right? So he just basically like, it's in this area, right? Yeah, it's like between Ugh. It's like one row over from, so I'm looking in this general area. I'm sorry, this is like kind of all over the place, but there's, you know, you're in the right spot when you see there's like a triangle of three test pads. So TP70, whatever the hell that is, I can't even tell, and this other one here. Like there's this triangle here. That's how you know you're in the right little area, but it's right below that. So, and then how I like to think of these vias is they're like rows of them, a bunch of rows. If we skip the first row, we're going to be soldering to a bunch of vias on the second row and over. So like this general kind of area over here. In Voltar's video, he's pre-tinning them, and that's the plan, is to pre-tin them by just, before you scrape the solder mask off, you just basically run over these vias with a bunch of solder. So you just try to tin as many of these vias as you can before we do anything with the flex cable. But if you try to do that, like I'm really trying, I'm not trying to tin these. I maybe tinned one. I know I'm sorry that you guys can't really see closer than this, but I might have tinned like two of them, maybe three. And I'm just kind of visually, no, I tinned three, and I can verify on my scope how many I actually tinned, just for ha-has. I'm sorry you guys can't see. Ugh, it's sort of disorienting looking at this. Sorry, I'm just trying to focus it. I'm getting used to the knobs and what the knobs do on the scope. Yep, I tinned three and one that was not even in the right zone. Actually, and I got a solder blob over here. So I tinned like not all the vias. So my point is, Voltar says do this as like a last measure, what I'm going to tell you now, but I feel like you probably have to. Anyway, you should do it anyways. It is dangerous, don't get me wrong, because the traces are very thin. So I think he doesn't want you to take a fiber pen, like a fiberglass pen, and just go to town trying to scratch the solder mask off. You have to very intentionally try to remove the mask from the vias only, which is going to be very difficult unless you have a scope. All right, I haven't had I have to, okay, let me read. Okay, I'm reading at the comments here. I really don't recommend doing the blob method on the vias. You're going to be better off soldering each via individually with a fine tip. Okay, fair. Also, if you have paste flux, that's going to be easier. Okay, that's fair. Let me get my Amtech flux. That's a good idea. Got Amtech flux. The encoder is missing on their website. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yes, use those two TPs as guidance, TP232. Quick question, is there a resistor R20 under those vias? Under? Like, oh, is there supposed to be a resistor, you mean? Oh yeah, look at that, it's not there. No, mine doesn't have a resistor, is it supposed to? Or did I just eat it off? Well, I see other resistors that are not there. Well, to answer your question, I don't have a resistor at R20. Oh, I see. The indicators are the actual, yeah, the designators are over off to the side. So the lines kind of show you, are pointing to the labels. Okay, so let me try to think about this. Again, I'm going to be using the... Let me think about how I'm going to talk about this. How's that sound? Okay. All right. So there are on the flex cable, there are 4 vias vertically, right? And then it goes over what, like 6 rows this way. But 4, if you look at the area here, 4 is the max. It's basically 4 vias high, so we're gonna like centrally locate it 1 row over from. Let me just triple check the thing. Oh, Okay, it starts at the one that has 5. Or the second one that has 5. Gosh. Okay. All right, so we need to do more. We need to tin these vias. I would just tin as many as you can. Like at this point, if you're just practicing or you're just trying to tin these vias, don't necessarily worry about tinning the right ones. Just worry about not damaging the board. So, is this going to even be possible by eyesight? I guess it is. Well, before I do that, I'm going to do what MP3 suggested and try some paste flux. We're still in the process of tinning these. I have a feeling that we will not be super duper successful tinning these without scratching the solder mask off, but I'll give it a shot with this paste flux. I highly recommend that Amtech flux. This is the VS213. I mean, there's a couple different varieties, but this is just invaluable for like a lot of different mods, not just this. So let's do. So I know MP3 didn't like the blob method, but I suppose this is how you're probably going to do it if you don't have. Well, even this is not doing anything. Maybe I got one more tinned. But I really don't think this is going to do anything. So the second option before we go to Scratch Town, that's stupid. Before we go to scratching the solder mask off, I have a tiny soldering tip. And that is the great thing about this. I have the Aijun T3A soldering iron. I don't like the handle part. This part is junk right here. I can separate it. See that? And that happens a lot. So I don't like the quality of that part. But it comes with this tiny thing, and it takes the JBC, whatever. Takes those tips. So yeah. And it also is quick change. So I can just, there's a stand, and I can pop the things off and pop the new tip on. Okay, I'm going up here. I'm gonna read the comments again before I go back. I had the same board and was doing the same mod this morning. Thought I pulled off R20. Okay, no, R20 is not there. Writing is to the right. Okay, you can't really tin them prior to scraping. Okay, got it. Some boards have a coating over the Vika. Yep, I think this one does. Wow, the delay. Either am I not caught up? Okay, I was behind. For some reason my chat window had the video way far behind. Can you do the scraping under the scope and then come back? Yeah, I can. Yeah, you guys think I'm like trolling or something. I'm just trying to talk about if you don't have a scope, like you guys like only attempt this mod if you have a microscope and a fine point soldering iron. Like I'm just trying to test the viability of it for people that are normal. And we'll have normal tools, which is basically this soldering iron, the normal tip. So I don't know if you will be able to be successful with that. I do think that we're going to have to scrape this off, but I just want to see if I can tin anything with just this fine tip. And actually, you probably could turn the heat up. No, this is doing nothing. Okay, so I have a feeling that on these older models, you're going to be SOL without scraping the stuff off. And that's what I had to do in my Sheeta video. So I ended up scraping all the vias that I did. So it's not impossible, and I did that whole mod without a scope. So I'm just, you know, it seems intimidating, but it isn't. It isn't that intimidating. Is this through the scope? No, this is not through the scope. I don't have, oh my gosh. I shouldn't even mention anything about the scope. I don't have a scope. I have a scope that I can see over here off to the left, but you guys can't see it. So this is my normal camera. Yeah. I did it without a microscope, but it was almost impossible. I couldn't do it again. I wouldn't do it again without a scope. Okay. Tried through a jeweler's glass, and it was rough. Got it. Does this mod work with all versions? Yep, it works with all versions. Yes. All but the mini, really? Oh, okay. Oh God, no! What happened? Are we fine here? What happened? My chat video, my chat YouTube thing is freaking out. Okay, I guess I'll just demonstrate it, and then I'm going to go do it on the microscope. But what I'm talking about is, if you've seen a normal via, normally vias are not coated with any of the board, the solder mask. Or I don't know if it's the solder mask itself or some other kind of coating, but so you can just solder normally to a via without having to worry about scraping anything off. For whatever reason, besides the fact that these are microscopic vias, they also have a coating on them that make it really difficult for solder to actually penetrate into the via. So it basically just floats along the surface and doesn't really stick to anything. So starting at the, this line here, I know it's going to be really difficult for you guys to see. So it's the second column to the second column over in this area here with that little line there. So, actually the Amtech flux is making it hard to see. So what you're trying to do basically is stick just to the via itself and scrape some of the solder mask off. And then you could do a little by little if you want to, and then come back and try to solder it and try to tin it. See, that worked now. I mean, it's not amazing. I probably would try to do it a little bit more. And there's really no way that you can verify that it's great unless you had a scope. So I guess you're kind of on your own if you don't have a scope for getting the feel of this. But I can see it with my eyes. I'm trying to do it with just my eyes right now. And if this was me and I didn't have a scope, I would keep trying to do it this way, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So it looks like I kind of got the top one there, but I probably would try to scrape it again and then move on. So I got one, and I got to do 4 of those in a row. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to do it under the scope. Let me do at least the first row, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what I did. I'm not going to solder it. I'm just going to try to scrape the solder mask off. And sorry, I'm not super paying attention to the comments right now, but I'll come back and answer questions if you've got them. Even with the scope, I mean, it's kind of difficult to tell what you're doing. But it helps a lot. Actually, it's more difficult with the flux already on it. And it's crazy, you can kind of tell with the scope, you can tell how blunt an X-Acto is. Yeah, I don't know. I need to clean that flux off. That was a mistake. Okay, that's better. Now I can actually see what the hell this looks like. Okay, back to the scope. Would a fiberglass pen work? No, I think that it would be trying to solder with a hot dog. You're better off with just a normal X-Acto knife. Probably sharper would be better if you have fresh tips. I would probably put a new tip on it. Yeah. That's crazy. In my microscope, this tip is pretty blunt. I mean, I guess in the video here it does look a little blunt, but you can't tell how bad. And then when you look at the scope, it's the same size as the vias. I used a fiberglass pen, which worked, but might not be the best. Yeah, I mean, you could do it, but you're getting into territory where you could actually scratch off a via, and you don't want to do that. Okay, so that one's done. Now I got to do the next one down. So I'm at 3 of 4. It's crazy how helpful microscope is. Okay, I can actually tell what the heck I'm doing here. Okay, so that's 3. Now I'm on to 4. Ugh, I don't like this. Do I have a fresh blade? Where the heck are those blades? Oh, here they are. Good old trusty Harbor Freight blades. See you later. Okay. Oop. I can never tell if I'm screwing this in correctly or not. Oh, okay, what? Oh, there we go. I was screwing it wrong. Okay, back to Scrape Town. Yeah, I would avoid a fire. I mean, yeah, you're kind of, well, yeah, I would just say no. No on the fiberglass pen. Oh yeah, new pen is the move. New tip, I mean, is the move. And I'm just kind of going downward, like I'm not going back and forth. I wish that you guys could see what I'm seeing in the scope soon. It's happening. But it's not really that difficult. Ew, I can see all the gunk, the solder masks just piling up. Okay. Okay, cool. So now I've scraped 4 of them. You can't really tell in this video. I guess you can. I mean, they're brighter. You can tell that they're obviously coppery, more coppery now. So then you just take your fine tip and you just kind of hit them. Well, this is actually where you'd probably go back and use the Amtech flux, but like you don't want to leave until you see actual solder in the joint. The problem with the small tip is it takes more heat, or time, I suppose I should say. Because the smaller the tip is, the more concentrated the heat has to be. And actually, in that case, I'm gonna go to 380 on my iron. I normally solder at 350 Celsius, but for something like this, I would probably do hotter. Just if you're gonna use the small tip. Okay, so I think that looks okay. And I can always, I'll look at the scope and verify everything. But now we're just going to move one column over. So you start the left side, do that one column, and then you move one over. And so then I'm going to look at my thing here, and I just got to do 3. The second column has 3 vias starting from the top of the first column. So then I'm going to go back to the scope. And oh, I guess at the same time you can verify your last column. But starting at the next column, yeah, there's no wonder that people have a hard time with this. If you didn't watch Voltar's video, or you don't have other experience with Wii soldering and knowing how the flux is hardening, and I probably would recommend also cleaning off the vias between rounds of doing it, because the flux will harden on there and it will be harder to scrape the solder mask off. Okay. There's limited instructions, I guess, which is my problem with the website. But it does warn that it's an expert level mod, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so that's 3. I'm going to just try soldering onto the scope. I just want to see how easy it is. Oh, it's easier to tell how well the solder is getting in there. Okay, that's good. Yeah. You kind of want to leave it longer than you think you have to. Yeah. Okay, cool. I can't wait for the camera because you guys are going to be pumped. Hopefully it works well. Okay, so I did the first and second rows here. So now I'm going to move on to the third row. This third row only has 2, starting at the bottom of the last one. I hope that makes sense how I'm describing this, but this next row only has 2, and it's toward the bottom. All right, let me look at the comments. Let's see. I've done a few NAND relocations with no scope. Do not recommend. Ah, yikes. Via used a fiberglass pen, which worked but might not be the best. Oh, it moves the coating around the vias too. Yeah. Well, if you expose the copper traces, also they can get oxidized. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. I want to try this, but micro vias on flex cable. Yeah. Well. It almost seems like the Ashita might be a little bit easier, but that's psycho. There's no way it is, but I didn't have this much stress about this when I was doing the Ashita. I guess with the Ashita, there's no flex cable to install on these or to solder onto these. It's kind of just soldering wires. So yeah. Okay, so let me solder those 2. The solder kind of barely forms a joint, I guess. Like, it doesn't really, I don't know, it's hard to describe. Insomnia, let's go. Yeah, shout out to everybody who can't sleep right now and they're watching this. Okay, so that was the third row. Now the fourth row is just the bottom via of the 4. So on to the fourth row. So that would be this. You guys hear the sound of via scratching? I'll just do the 5th row too, because it's also 2, like the 3rd row. Okay. Now let's solder those 3, row 4 and 5. Okay. Cool. Ah! Solder blob on my finger. Here's what I suggest you do after you're done. Put flux on the balls and then align the flex. Okay. What output resolution this mod can do? It just says 480p, Daniel Gower. It's a GC video mod, so that can do up to 480p. With minimal solder on the tip. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, you're talking about the next. Let me clean what my stuff looks like here with IPA. And then I have to do how many more? Oh, there's only one more row, and so the last row lines up at the top of that one I just did. Yeah, I think this is definitely the way to go. Just, you know, instead of trying to blob it on there like Voltar was doing, which I don't think that's a bad method. I just feel like it won't work on Wiis that are older, or the Wiis that have the solder mask like all over the place, which this one does, which is different than the 4-layer board. The 4-layer board that I had was not like this. It was easier to do. Okay. So then the last one I was saying is this one. Also, probably not a mod to do while drinking coffee. Okay. Just gotta solder it. Ugh. I never had to ask myself the question, is there such thing as too much detail, until I got this microscope. This is all sorts of nasty stuff that I'm seeing finally that I do. I wish I could unsee like dirt in places. Like there's literally dirt all over everything all the time. Like right now in your room, everything that you have around you is disgusting. I'm sorry. Somebody's got to tell the truth. Okay, cool. Okay, so not only is it just tinned, it's also got good, I guess fillets is the right word, whatever the bulbs of solder are. And sorry, this is as far up as my camera can go. This camera lens, far zoomed in, I mean. But I mean, it looks not bad, you know. So that's what my things look like. I'm gonna clean it with IPA again. And then I'm going to add some of that flux. Well, I'm going to read what Leon said to do. Actually, before I even do any of that, I'm going to triple verify that I have the right pins, the right stuff. I suggest not to put flux on your balls. Yep, Voltar makes the soldering look so easy. Yeah, yep. Definitely is... Look at your skin under the microscope. Oh, it's not awesome. It's disgusting, Leon. It's like, I'm concerned that you guys are going to judge the hell out of me for like my fingernails and things. So it's no wonder people use like pointers and stuff under the microscope so they don't show their gross skin. Okay. All right, so let me double check or quadruple check, however I'm at now. I think that's right. It looks fine. It's one column over from that white line. So when I'm saying a white line, I mean this, I guess it's C157 and C167 are these two here. These two vias in this tiny thin box here. That's the white line I'm talking about, so this. So skip the first row of vias, which whoever silkscreened this one kind of did a sloppy job. So the actual vias are kind of in line with that first white line. And then the second row is where you start at the top and you go down 4, and that's where our 4 alignment is coming from. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, so now let's read Leon's crazy method. Leon says, here's what I suggest after I'm done balling the vias. Put flux on the balls, then align the flex with minimal solder on the tip. Touch each pad to connect front to back through the flex. Okay. White lines, we know what you mean. Yeah, I know. There's I didn't realize there's like white lines all over. I don't know. Whatever. Don't read into that. Well, I can't, like, ever since I had this scope now, I'm like, this is terrible magnification. I actually should bring this down one hole more. Like, I can bring this, oh, never mind. It's hard without describing what this whole situation looks like. It's, okay, so, It's kind of easy to see. Well, you can just barely see through these vias to line them up. But I guess the name of the game now is to try to line them up and tack it down. Which, yeah. All right, so let's try it. So I'm still using my little tiny guy, my little tiny soldering iron, right? The micro soldering one. I'm going to, I don't know if I want to use, I guess I can use the Amtech flux. Might be overkill. Liquid flux would probably be better. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to use liquid flux because I don't want to leave. Okay, no, I'll use this. A little bit of it. Because this stuff kind of goops everywhere. And sometimes it actually makes it more difficult to see. Okay, so now I'm going to start from the front here. Maybe I'm going to add a tiny, tiny amount of solder, like almost nothing, to the tip. That's not nothing. Okay. Don't use too much flux. You won't see the balls. Yep. And then I'm going to try to solder to the bottom. Well, actually, the one over here is probably easier to see. So I know this is like psycho trying to explain this, but I guess I'm just going to have to go for it and try it. Nope. Maybe this one's over here. Okay. Okay. I think I might have gotten one. Oh, it's going to come right off. Yep. Totally is. The other problem is it's going to be really hard to hold it down like flat. So let me try to do this far right one. Okay, so that looked like it soldered fine, but it's not lined up with the rest of them. The only problem is you can move it and solder onto the wrong. Okay, I'm going to try another one. Okay, I think it's happening. It's kind of hard to show on the thing, but I did these three over here. I'm just worried that I'm not lined up on the far side. So I'm going to try to do, very carefully, because you could definitely rip these pads, is like lift it up and see how centered I am on the last row. And kind of not really at all. So I'm going to try it again. Oh, gosh. Okay. Starting over. So I probably should take the, okay. Let me take my sweatshirt off. That might be inhibiting me. Now if you only had something that could let you see real close. Yep. Okay. Would a pin needle help you somehow? Oh, like pin it down? Not really. I would be worried about damaging the flex cable. Hope everyone's doing well. Tweezers. Yeah, well, I'll get to tweezers, but the problem is I need to line it up better in the beginning. Like, it feels like it's working. But then when I look at the last row, it's like not lined up right. Although that seemed like it worked right. I don't know how Voltar's, he was able to see the pads underneath. I could barely see that. I mean, it doesn't help that these are covered in solder now, but I'm going to try to start it like, it's hard for me to, it's uncomfortable for me to stand like that. So I'm going to try, yeah, how the heck? Huh. Okay. Let's think about it. He had the newer kit that uses the clear brown flex. Oh, okay. Got it. So this is like the harder flex. How long have you spent so far working on this mod? I started streaming at 9 p.m. So, and I didn't even start modding until 9:30. So, but the Wii was already disassembled, and I probably spent a lot more time talking about how to scrape the solder mask off than I did actually doing it. Okay. Ugh. Sorry, I'm not talking. I'm trying to concentrate. Okay, so I feel like that this far right one is in, or lined up, right? But this left side is not lined up right. Okay, that might be better. Okay, well, let's try to, I think that's fine. So I soldered the far right one, which, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to visualize where the dot is based on the grid of vias, and then soldering where that is. If that makes any sense at all. All right, so now I'm just going to move over to the next one. Oh, that one backed out. Oh my God, came off. All right, let's rec an order here. I'm gonna clean all the flux, the solder off of the mod, the flex cable, because I think it's bumped up in some spots and just yikes. So I'm just gonna use this. All these experienced Wii modders are like, cringe. Okay. And actually my bigger iron might be better now, actually. Should I put a little bit more flux? I don't know. Okay, that worked better. I think the bigger tip for this part is better. maybe. Can I see anything in the scope? Hello, scope. Oh, I guess this would have helped me line everything up. Okay, forget you guys. I'm gonna go do it over here. Oh, that is funny. Okay, they were mostly lined up. It's like that one's lined up. I just need my tweezers to push it down. Okay, so the whole lining up part is easier too with the scope. Okay, so I'm just gonna do that. I'm gonna line it up over here. Sorry, I make you guys suffer and not watch what I'm doing, but I also don't want to retro gem this install. Ugh, I can't even do it with my finger. I need to hold it down with the tweezers. Oh yeah, way easier. Yeah. I hate to say it, but if you have a microscope, it will make this mod 1,000 times easier. Because I'm almost finished now. Okay, great. Well, so the problem is I couldn't really see, in Voltar's video, he mentions to look through the vias when you line it up with the vias that you tinned underneath, which, you know, in theory that's great, but I couldn't see through it with my naked eye. Whereas if you had a scope or a jeweler's loop or something, you'd be able to see it. All right, let's go. Yeah, okay, Leon. Yep. Got it. Yeah, that's what I did. I did the whole thing, actually. Taking the time to remove the mask, pre-tin the vias, and then use a chisel-style tip helps a lot. Yep. Alignment is a pain. Have you tested the VGA output using RV Loader versus this mod? Have I tested the VGA output using RV Loader versus using this mod? The only comparison I can do with RV Loader is the Ashita. And so, you know, it won't be a true one-to-one, but the colors from the VGA, the IPS screen in that they're awesome. They're really good. So I was watching the SpawnWave video. So SpawnWave also has a video about installing this. And at the end, I just wasn't thrilled with the colors of the output. It definitely looks like this is not lined up here on this part, but it was in the scope. So I'm just going to double check here. It looks like it's not. I mean, you have a tiny bit of wiggle room. Like I think the one saving grace about this mod is that the vias are kind of far apart. So I really don't think that you should be worried about bridging from one via to the next, but you know. Okay, I'm going to touch up the top of the flex with some liquid flux under the scope. Probably don't need to add any more solder at this point, to be honest. I'm just using what's already on the board. You can always add more flux. Okay. Okay, I think these are good. I know you guys probably can't see, but yeah, I think they're good. So let's clean it up. Just gonna let this soak for a minute. You just got used to you just used a magnifying glass. Yeah, I mean, if you have my father has a giant lighted. It's like a big ring light, but it also has a giant microscope inside of it. I don't think you need that much magnification, but you know, you just need to be able to see through the via holes on the flex cable to see through it to the board. Shining a light directly to the flex cable. Yeah, I mean that would be good. The problem is I have my camera here. I do have lights, but they're not directly over it. So that probably would help if you. I don't know, man. That part looks less lined up, but I'm confident. I'm confident that they're soldered okay. So let's just clean it off. Oops. Yeah, so it'll have to be next stream, I guess, where I'll finish this. I knew that this was going to take a while, so, and I wanted to do a good job with it, so taking a while, but that's right. Okay, so now I guess we have to worry about the yeah, it doesn't look level over here, does it? It looks cockeyed, I guess. But like I was saying, there are kind of big gaps between the vias, so I really don't think I'm bridged at all. Cool. All right. Now we got to worry about the wires to solder. So let's start with. So this is the problem with the Electron Shepherd website. Is there's no wiring diagram for the rest of the wires, so I got to use the Voltar video. Excuse me.
Perfectly capable.
Perfectly capable. Sorry, Voltar. All right, so I'm gonna get to the part. So he's doing the tinning part. Yep, tinning part. Then he does the. I don't know. Do you guys think this is straight enough? Or do you think I should redo it? I mean, I know it's not bridged to these vias below it because it's not close enough. It can't be. It's fine. All right, so now he does. Okay, solder the remaining wires. Okay, so let's do that. So I don't know exactly what size 30 gauge wire. What gauge would you recommend, Leon, for the different stuff, or it doesn't really matter? Or ask here. Leon, what gauge wire? I've got 30 gauge. I've got 20, I think I've got 28 gauge. This is 22 gauge. I think that's probably too thick. What just fell? Oh, the lid. I've got 26 gauge. I've got, this is what, 24 gauge? Yep, 24 gauge. I don't think I have 28 gauge. So just 26 or 30, I think would work. 30 gauge is good enough. Okay. All right, so let's do the 5 volts. So we got to find the 5 volt pad. Back to the Voltar video. He's holding the whole board. Okay, so it's on one of the edges. Oh, it's here. Okay. Oh, that makes sense because I think the 5 volt pad is this one closest to it. Okay. So I'm going to take some, I like silicone wire a lot. I don't know. I get the stuff Strive Day from Amazon. It's okay. Oh, I don't have my. Oh, I do need my. So now I need my nippers, and I need my that thing. Okay, so let's pre-tin both of these. So now we're trying to solder wires to the rest of these pads on the side. So the first one we need to do is 5 volts. So I'm going to keep it in the same orientation here, and it's this via here. It says 5V. So as soon as you do the flex cable part, I think the rest of it is pretty much home free. Maybe cutting the shell, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing that on stream. I could talk about it though. Like I might do it off stream and then come back and talk about it. So. Whoops, I said I was going to keep it in the same orientation. I lied. Oops, sorry about the reflection. Actually, wait a minute. There we go. We need some more flux or more solder. Oh gosh. Tragedy. I have been watching Foundation, which is a really good show on, I think it's on Apple TV. So shout out to you guys if you're watching Foundation. It's pretty good. It's good sci-fi. Never read the books or anything. I like shows, so nice. Okay, so that goes to the 5-volt pad here on the thing. Oh gosh. Oh, I think my soldering iron can go back to normal, 350. Oh, that looks like crap. All right, I'll fix it after. I think I need some more wires to hold this flex cable part down. Okay, next is, let's look. It's right there. If in doubt, just check the continuity between the AVE chip, the actual Nintendo chip, and the FPGA. Most left middle. Bridge 5 and 6 on the top row of the output port and connect a wire between them. Got it. That's also mode, I think, right? Something like that. Is there any ODE with NVMe support for the GameCube? I don't know if NVMe will ever. I don't know if NVMe will ever be supported by anything like that. SATA might be. SATA is going to with the M.2 loader, but that'll be SATA, not NVMe. Well, they're two different things. So if he means M.2, then that's SATA. Well, yeah, M.2 is the form factor, and that could be either SATA or NVMe. I doubt NVMe will ever be supported. Maybe in the future, sure, but yeah. Okay, yeah, now I gotta do the AVE port. I'm just gonna double check with Voltar's video. I know what you're saying. Leon, let's see, what is, oh, he's doing the controller next. Actually, I'll do the ground first, because I want this to kind of be not moving around. So ground, I'm skipping on the connector here, on the flex cable it says, so I did 5 volts first, then the next one here it says GCD, and that's for the controller, and we'll get to that. I think there's a test pad up there more that we got to solder to, or it might be, yeah, it's up there. Then there's 2 more vias. I think that's used for the IR thing, so we're going to skip that. Or 2 more pads, I mean. So really we're going to move on to these 2 more here. So the bottom one here is ground, and the top one is 3 volts. 3 volts is what Leon was talking to, and it's going to go to the AV connector, but we got to bridge some pads first. But ground, I believe, goes to the bottom side of this big capacitor here. So let's just going to look at the Voltar video. Oh, wait, his is in a different spot? I think it should be the same one. I can just use my multimeter. Okay. So I'm testing for continuity for this capacitor here. Just untangling my shit. Okay, so I'm going to just use like a screw, or I'll just use the edge here, the brass, and then the bottom side of this capacitor. Yeah, so we can just solder that. And I'm just going to use black for that. That should be pretty short. Well, it doesn't need to be short, but it is only a short distance from the thing. So let's tin the bottom side. There is some tiny capacitors around on this board, so just be careful. You don't want to fling a stray capacitor off. So that's that, and that's this. Okay. Now let's get a wire. Okay. Then take this. Okay. And then that goes swoop up to there. I probably should avoid, how does Voltar do it? Oh, so when the version that he's doing, this capacitor is not, and the flex cable is not anywhere near this screw. So anywhere you see these open holes, these brass looking holes there, I believe that's going to line up with the bottom of the Wii shield here. So you can't put any wires near that. So in my case, I feel like I'm going to have to take the long way around, because if you look at the, or I guess I could go I'll just solder it the other direction. Yeah, okay. So instead of having this come out this side, I'll flip it this way. Okay, then I'll do that. Hopefully that makes sense why I'm doing that. All right, so that's ground. Now I just got to do the 3 volts and the controller. So let's do the 3 volts up here. This is what Leon was talking about earlier. Let me just look at comments first. Whoa, I got a lot of comments. Hold on. Yeah, M.2 loader. Will there ever be one? Well, first of all, I would not necessarily call it an ODE, because all those different like Pico loader and is that what it's called? Pico boot? They use Swiss, so it's not necessarily an ODE. Even GC loader is not like a true ODE, I think. Might be more, yeah, I don't know. You can also scrape the ground right next. Okay. Forget the Wii bottom shield. Anyone who ever installed the Wii Dual knows to throw that away. Oh, I didn't even think of that. So I shouldn't use the the bottom shield with this board here. I hope this is good. This is fine, right, Leon? This is what you're talking about. Stay away from this thing. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe eventually they might have some NVMe conversion thing, but it's a different protocol, so you'd have to have some kind of a conversion thing. Okay, so I'm just going to fast forward to Voltar's video. 3.3 volts. Okay. Alternative 8 and 10. Cable detect. I'm just watching his video. Can't hear what he says, but okay, he solders a pin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Well, I don't know if it's pins 5 and 6, but 5 up from the bottom. So Voltar soldering together from the bottom on this, from the first row, or the leftmost row. 1, 2, 3, 4. He starts at 5 and 6. So he solders 5 and 6 here together. So I'm gonna assume that's correct, but Leon, you can correct me if you feel I'm wrong. Anyway, either way, I need to get some cable going, and then let's solder this. Yep, 5 and 6 from the top as well. 5 and 6 from the top. Oh, it's in the center. I see. Got it. Okay, so basically we're going to be bridging, I believe, what is 3 volts, and then I think it's the cable select pin or something like that, but I think that this is what bridges the mode selector or something, so that it's always on 480p, which is enabling the 480p from VGA or whatever this uses. So if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So starting at 5, so 5, and then the one right above it, 6, and then just bridge it like that. Oh, so it's smack dab in the middle. That's good. So that is that, but now we got to solder a wire to it. Okay. Okay. Now this is going to go to that 3 volts wire here. Pad, I mean. Yeah, I just would like to see on the Electron Shepherd page just just a blown up image of this wiring diagram. Like it shows some pictures of it, but doesn't show every pad. So then I think you wouldn't even have to watch Voltar's video. I mean, it's nice to it's good to get the insights, and like not everyone has like a pocket Leon that they can just ask for questions, you know, if you have questions. But if you know most of what you're doing and all you really need is the pinout, then it would be nice to just have it on the page. But oops. Okay, that's better. Cool. Okay, so that's all the wires except for the GCD wire. Any reason to not use the ground on the video outpost? That's interesting. You probably could. Yeah, like any of the pegs, any of the support brackets would be ground as well. Probably would work. Heck, I mean, if you wanted to, and this would be bad practice, but you could solder directly to this screw post. I wouldn't recommend it because you're going to be screwing at least something. The Wii plastic to that. So, but yeah. Since you were saying bridging those forces it to 480p, does that mean you can't use analog output anymore? That I do not know. I just chipped an OG Xbox only to have the software side hit a wall. Yeah, Brock's Fix It. There's a lot of Xbox software modding stuff out there, and some of it is dated. Like it's hard to find and get like all the discs if you're gonna soft mod stuff because there's a few things that you need. You need some. I think that you need a USB port thing and a certain game. Yeah, it's a lot of. I don't know about the bridging thing. I think that all it does is just enable it as far as what can be output. I don't know if that means it disables the VGA lower resolutions. It looks well. The Smash TV network. It is. This part is easy. This part up here was challenging, but not if you have a scope, it makes it easier. All right, so let's do the GCD wire. So I'm gonna have to back up in Voltar's video. Actually, I can kind of see it here. I just want to double check the actual thing that he. You could probably listen to Voltar. I don't have the sound on for this Voltar video. He might explain that 3 volt the bridging this part. He might explain the pros and cons. I'm not sure. I kind of skimmed that part. This when I was reading it earlier, or watching it earlier. Okay, so test point 27. So we're going to be going from this GCD pad here to all the way up here, the first controller port up here. We're looking for test pad. Oh, I bet you the test pad is different, isn't it? Okay. I see test pad 28. Oh, okay. It's still here. It's just in the middle of all this stuff. On the newer Wiis, it must be a little less exposed. Like I can see it on Voltar's video. So just be careful. You're not going to try not to get rid of any of the components on the board. Okay, so how about a green wire for that? All right, so let's start soldering the wire on this end. Again, you try not to bridge anything. I can't scream her head off. Okay. So that's that. And then that goes, oops, sorry, you guys couldn't see that, but that goes way over here to GCD. And Voltar, not sure if I'm going to do this here, but maybe it kind of pulls this tight. Voltar kind of does this, and it sort of misses this screw hole here and this one here by just kind of letting it get snagged on this thing here, this flex cable connector. So I guess we can try that. That seems cool. I'm just, yeah. Just want to make sure it looks fine. Just be careful because this wire, the pad soldered here is kind of close to the chip, the FPGA on the flex cable. So just be careful not to bridge any of the FPGA pins when you're soldering this on. Okay. Not as tight as Voltar's is, but that's not a euphemism. Well, I guess I could do a little bit more slack. Cut off a little bit more. Maybe I'll do like 3 millimeters or something. Gosh. Okay, cool. Oh no, now it's too tight, isn't it? Sure is. Oh, that's annoying. Well, I think it should be fine. His looked so nice in the video. Damn, I shouldn't have done that, huh? Oh well. Okay, that should be fine. If I have to fix it later, I can do that. I just want to resolder that one. Okay. I should have left that longer. That's dumb. Oh well. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. I probably wouldn't recommend that. I mean, I would leave it looser than tighter. Especially because later on we're going to be putting a flex cable, or not tonight, but we'll be putting a flex cable on top of it, so it'll straighten it out. I'm going to run, like off camera, I'm going to run a little, I'm just going to make this what it was in the beginning. Okay. All right, let me read. It looks like there's tons of stuff happening. I don't think it forces 480i, just enables it. Yeah, okay. I think that's right. So like this mode pin or something is what that's bridging, because that's what you have to do in the Ashitas. You have to solder a via. There's like a little tiny via closer to the encoder, and then there's a 3-volt or something like that, 3-volt resistor or capacitor or something that you bridge it to. That just enables that 480p mode. I'm lost. What do I do after the Xenium chip is installed? Yeah, if you're just booting, if you just got a chip installed but you still are the stock dashboard, then you need to install a custom dashboard. Well, do you have the logo? I'm assuming you have the little logo. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's where I'm going to leave it now. It's a couple minutes to 11. That's usually when I stop streaming. I wish I got more done tonight. I probably could have if I didn't BS so much, but we'll have to finish this on Wednesday. So the next steps are, we're not even really close to testing it, because you'd still have to, the immediate next step is to solder the actual HDMI port, which this is a mini HDMI port. You have to solder that underneath the USB ports here. So this is where the USB ports stick out. These vias are designed so that I don't think you don't have to clear any of this solder here. You should be able to just solder it directly on top. But the challenge, I suppose, is how to line it up correctly. And Voltarg talks about using the white box here to line up this part, so that way you don't have to you're not I don't know, it just makes it a little bit easier to line it up here, so that you're not using a different spot to line it up. Like, you're not trying to line up the HDMI port here with the USB ports or something crazy. You just use a little white box to make sure that it's square. So we'll do that next time. Then I believe it's just taking this flex cable that came with it and hooking this board up to the actual flex cable here. Then it'll probably be the challenging stream of, I may also, I don't know. I think next stream is just going to be the test stream, and then I'll cut the case off screen after next stream. But we should be able to, once this is done, this part is installed and the flex cable is installed, we should be able to test. And that's going to involve partially putting the Wii back together. So that is where I'm going to need, I shouldn't need Leon's help then, because it'll just be a matter of putting the disk drive in and the fan shroud and things and the heat sink, I guess. I guess we can't screw it down unless we just send it. But we have to get some of the parts back onto the board. And unfortunately, because this Wii is soft mounted, so it might work. But if you were using it on a stock console, you need all the components installed. So you need the Wi-Fi thing, you need the disk drive. I don't know if it's going to yell at you if you don't have the fan connected or something, but you need it basically reassembled, mostly reassembled. So, and then we'll be able to test it. So, yeah, I'm going to go back to the computer. We could talk for another minute. I guess shout out to Voltar for making that video. Kind of explains, oh, I got my laser brush shirt on. Kind of explains everything. I wish it was just written in the thing, but it is what it is. It's nice to hear. Oh, you can kind of see in the this is the in the thumbnail. You can see how Voltar did it, and then this flex cable part. So that's what it'll look like in this clear shell. So I have this clear shell, and I guess I'm open to opinions about whether or not I should use this or if I just use the white original case. I don't know the quality of these, but I have it. And maybe by then I'll have the case screws, replacement case screws. I might be able to get more of the reinstall, more of the Wii put back together. I don't know. Because I'm missing some of the screws. Hope that makes sense. So maybe by then I'll have the camera lens thing. So we'll be able to actually see, maybe we can do a little messing around with that. I also afterwards, immediately after finishing this mod, I mentioned it before. I mentioned it before, but I did the PicoGus ISA sound card video, but I did version 1.1 or something of that. I have version 2. So the PicoGus is a Gravis ultrasound emulator sound card for old retro computers. But the PicoGus uses a Raspberry Pi Pico, which is a dev board that has the RP2040 microcontroller on it. So it kind of, you can see the microcontroller, the dev board, the Pi Pico is soldered onto it. And then there's a separate little DAC thing that you have to buy on Amazon that's also soldered to it. The version 2 has all of those components on this board. So this board does not have any, like the dev board, secondary dev board stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like it's all surface mount. And the challenge with this, there's 2 challenges on this board. The first challenge is actually soldering the RP2040. So I'll have to use my hot air gun on that. And then there are a ton of 0402 capacitors, which is a kind of a difficult footprint to hand solder. But with the microscope, no problem. So that was kind of the driving force to buying the microscope, was so I can build this. But yeah, this is just the start of cool stuff. So yeah, if you have any suggestions or stuff, I don't know what happened. Did the chat die? So no one's chatting anymore. That's fine. So that's kind of what's on the docket. I have all the components for that. I have some other things coming, more retro computing stuff. So if you enjoy retro computing stuff, that's what I'm gonna switch back to that after I finish this mod in a couple streams. But then I've also got some stuff that Bonzo sent me. So I've got to upgrade my it's over yonder. My Sany cart reader. So I have an slightly older version of the Sany cart reader. I've got some upgrade parts from Bonzo, from Bonzo's retro.shop, I think is the URL, to upgrade that. So like that would be, you don't need to use the voltage switcher anymore. He printed me a multi-color filament case with his Bamboo Labs printer, and I have some. I can actually do and I didn't in my original video. I didn't do the N64, or maybe I did and I just removed it. I have stuff to make the N64 memory card slot thing look better in the case, so I can do that also. Did the graphics card? Oh yeah, so yes, so I figured out I feel like it's just a compatibility. I think you're talking about the 286 problem with the 286 computer stream. So I found on the ATI Wonder 16 manual, there's a line that says something about some cards, some computers they're not compatible. I don't know the exact terminology, but they said that you should not use the 16-bit BIOS version. Basically means you have to use it as an 8-bit graphics card, which is slower. Like it's a slower 8-bit, but the 8-bit bus is slower. But the way it talked about it in the manual was there's actually like a UI. You can pull up there's like some software, some ATI software that you can run that will actually set some EEPROM in the ATI Wonder card where you can set it to always run in 8-bit mode. But what I did instead is I just moved it to an 8-bit slot. So it auto-detected that it was in the 8-bit slot in that computer, and it started working fine. That was the ATI Wonder. Now the Sang card, which came in that computer, so I don't really know what the compatibility issue was, but that was the one that was showing the garbled text all the time, and it wasn't actually posting or like wasn't showing any display things. It didn't work in the IBM, and it didn't work in the 286 that I got, but I got a 386 motherboard that has a 386 40 megahertz 386. The Sang card works fine in 16-bit mode on that computer. So I don't know, but I also got a third 16-bit card that also works. So I don't know. So I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do, because basically now the ATI card is only running in 8-bit mode, where it's capable of running in 16-bit mode. So maybe I'll put that card in the 386, and I'll have to do something else with the 286. But I did get around that issue. So I know that's kind of tacked onto this stream, but I've been doing a lot of stuff with with retro computing stuff. I want to build. I mentioned it, I think, last stream too. I want to build that micro 8088. That might be my goal this year, is to build that whole computer, all the parts of it. So I'm slowly but surely going to be ordering all of the pieces to build, like the sound. I want to do the replacement sound card. I want to do the replacement the XT IDE with the compact flash drive thing built into it. And there's a graphics card, an 8-bit graphics card also, and the board itself, the motherboard itself, and then 3D print the case and get all that working. And if I'm lucky, I'll try to find the acrylic side cover like the guy used in the picture. So that would be really cool. You can like see through it. So that's my long-term goal for this year, is to build that whole computer. Sort of like last year it was the Ishida. This year it's going to be to build that 8088, the micro 8088. So it's a kind of an expensive project, but a couple $100 at least in materials and stuff. Plus I got to order all the things from PCBWay, whatever. So, but there'll be a lot of soldering streams and other mods that I have to do. I have to finish. I have to talk to Zaxor, because I have to find out where I need to solder those other things for the PC Engine. The Turbo Nanza, I kind of just left that and moved on because I didn't know where the audio wires were supposed to go to. Plus, I didn't really love the mounting situation, so I might just say whatever to the case and cut the case and just do it the normal way. So that's a possibility. Plus, I've got a whole bunch of other stuff. I've got a NES RGB4 that I have. I have 2 of those, and I haven't installed a single one yet. I have. My plan was originally to put it into the Opentendo NES, which is this. I also could put one in this Twin Famicom. Yeah, and I've got to put the gem together. Oh, I've got to fix my gem. So I've got to fix the fat PS2 gem here. Now that I have a microscope, I'm really curious. I'll be able to really pinpoint, hopefully, the issue with that. The controller wasn't working fully, so. All these things that I can do now that I have a scope, but I have to get the camera working, otherwise it's useless for the stream. So, all right, thanks everybody. Thanks for putting up with the weirdness in the beginning. And I know this is not the easiest. This is not easy to consume compared to like a YouTube video, but it's easier for me to do this, and it's low stress for me to do this. Plus, I like to do it, and I like talking with you guys. That's one thing I don't get to do with the YouTube videos. I don't get the back and forth. So that's why I'm doing it this way. So, all right, thanks everyone. I'll see you on Wednesday, and we're gonna hopefully finish and maybe test the install of the AVE